Was that the short intro?
Well, now we're introed.
Okay. You have to plug that thing in so they can hear the music.
Right. Well, okay. So no music. Doubly short intro today.
Doubly short intro. That's
right. Today's the 10th of January, 2021. Obviously. Welcome to the show. What's happening?
Well, let me just a few notes. I missed Wednesday. I apologize for that, but I did want to make a few notes from Wednesday. A couple of things that I was going to talk about. Mm-hmm. I had done a complete script for Wednesday, but
Sure.
Well, let me just a couple of things. On Wednesday, when I usually like to start off with is gold and Bitcoin. Gold was set in 1906, and Bitcoin was 35,570 at the time to go on the air, which meant at the time, remember this number now, a Bitcoin was 18.36, 18 and a third Krugerrands.
Okay.
18 and a third Kruger. I mean, this to me, I've said this since Bitcoin was 12 Krugerrands, that it was just nutso. And you know what are you doing? When I get ready to come over
20,
huh? Wait.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, you jump ahead. God love you.
Oh, hey, you know,
I understand, but it was
making it easy for me.
And right before I was ready to come over here on Wednesday, in 1 hour, Bitcoin went up $500 to whatever it was. And of course, there are a lot of people that are thinking they're talking about Bitcoin being 100,000. In whatever. Of course, they talk about anything, but it's interesting. The market capitalization of Bitcoin is greater than J.P. Morgan and greater than Berkshire Hathaway, which is like a real company with real stuff. The market capitalization.
I don't know about that.
Well, I don't know. Okay, whatever.
Okay.
So I just remember that though. 18 and a third Krugerrands. Mm-hmm. So let's see. The next thing I said was that I had a note on this. Again, I'm jumping around before I get into today's notes.
Okay.
A New Jersey Karen, quote unquote, was arrested for hurling the N-word at a black woman in a viral video. Mm-hmm. Now, apparently, she was somehow upset by this woman, black woman, and started hollering this out all the time: N-word, whatever. And she was arrested.
Right. And
charged with bias, intimidation, and harassment. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to wonder, really? I mean,
yeah. Look, what you're doing right now is you are furthering the cause here by retweeting the news, basically, about this is the narrative they're trying to get out there. I mean,
the narrative is what?
The narrative is that white people suck, and they're always attacking black people and calling them racial names. This is part of the America is systemically racist narrative.
Okay.
And so you've seen these little stories all the time. This is a one-off. You're asking yourself, why is this one woman's calling somebody a name? Why is name calling a national news story?
Well,
and it's because it fits the narrative.
It's not only statewide, because there's an assemblywoman is now launching an investigation into the matter. They're going to have a committee,
right? Because it's warranted according to the narrative.
Right.
This is, oh my God, we've uncovered this hideousness in here, and there are. In the United States Congress, there are 172 members of the Communist Party, card-carrying members.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen. Okay. Next thing I want to take was this. The pandemic era Mardi Gras. No Mardi Gras this year to speak of.
Well, yeah, I heard that.
They're going to have. Apparently what they're going to do is they're not going to have the parades with the beads and all that crap. But I don't know what else they're going to do. They said
you can't do it without that.
It starts on January 6th on Fat Tuesday, and this year's
that's not
and it ends on February 16th, which
is
Fat
Tuesday. Right.
Fat Tuesday, right? So it's over a month. Yeah. Usually marked by extravagant balls and parades. Costume riders throw trinkets to the people, and of course the girls all stand up when they rent over the parade and they rested there.
Oh yes, let me tell you something. If you're a single guy, if you have been through a divorce or have any self-esteem issues at all, Mardi Gras is the place you want to go.
Okay.
You want to go to Mardi, because let me tell you, I mean, it takes a couple of days for the mindset to set in, but, and don't bother going out at night. Just go out during the day.
Okay.
Because everybody's even crazier during the day.
Really?
Yeah, somehow. Because, see, at night it just devolves back into like, oh, it's a big party. Everybody's used to partying at night a little bit, and things getting a little crazy. But when girls are taking their shirts off in the middle of the day, something's weird.
Okay.
And so it...
Now, why is that weird?
I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
Whatever it is, it makes you feel good if you're a guy.
Okay.
And so that's where you need to go. But this is really sad from my perspective. This is going to further contribute to the decline of mental health that we have.
Boy, can you
in
imagine?
this country.
I mean, you can imagine. Seriously, think about it now for a second. Last year, at the end of Mardi Gras, which would have been February, the middle of February.
Yeah.
There was no COVID to speak of.
Right.
There might have been, but at that time, people were making their reservations.
Oh, for sure.
I'll be here next year.
Oh, yeah.
Reserve my room.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, you got to realize that there was 500,000 people making reservations.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, and now nothing.
I don't know. I can't believe it's going to be nothing. Let me tell you something. If they're going to break the rules anywhere in the United States,
Yeah.
it's in New Orleans, and it's during Mardi Gras.
It'll be interesting. No, it's going to be fascinating. I hope they're going to have some stuff on. I mean, this would be prime for YouTube and.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd think that everybody uploading daily.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and maybe they will. Like it just started, right?
Right. Yeah.
Now, like
Started
you said,
Wednesday.
they killed the parades, which is a big part of it. There's this
Boy, isn't that the truth?
really cool.
What do they call the guy who runs the parade? The Grand
mayor or something?
No, the
or-
Grand Marshal, the
Yeah.
Grand Poobah. There's a name for him. Whatever
Right.
it is.
And-
Check me on this.
Don't fact check.
Check.
Yeah, well, but the really cool thing is the beads that they throw from
Right,
the
oh, yeah.
parade. They become currency.
Right, I know.
That you can trade for all kinds of things.
Sex.
That, yeah, in particular.
Yeah. In particular, yeah. Boy, you walk
And
in
so, I don't know how they're going to do that otherwise. I mean, I guess my thought is they're just going to. Some people are going to do it anyway. But
well, it'll be interesting to see how the press, the alarmist, if it bleeds, it leads. Press shows up and shows how many
Super spreader,
right? Because when you think about it, it's almost like it's worse than Sturgis.
Mm-hmm.
Sturgis had like 100,000 people.
Right.
What are they, a couple of million in New Orleans or something?
Usually, yeah.
Yeah, and
I think it took a big hit after Katrina.
oh yeah, right.
I mean, it was half the size the next
Okay.
year. It grew back up a little bit more.
Yeah.
I don't think it's ever recovered its former glory since then. And now this is gonna.
I was going to put. I don't know, but you can't have the death knell of Mardi Gras.
No, you
mean,
can't.
You just can't.
No, that's like the day the music died.
Yeah, boy, isn't that the truth?
It's
So anyway, I just thought that it was interesting. They said, apparently they're coming up with socially distant ways to celebrate. Well, yeah, good luck on that.
Man,
you got to realize when you realize that the whole thing on Mardi Gras is to socially get together,
Yeah.
to blend. I mean that's
yeah.
the whole idea is
To
crowds.
touch, for people to touch people. It's
I know.
like it's the whole.
You're socially distant. You got to be kidding me.
No, not going to happen.
So that's not going to happen. Okay, the other thing I had was I thought it was this should have applied because we heard a lot about the insurrection at the Capitol and so forth.
The coup.
The coup, right? But prior to that,
Uh-huh.
I thought it was interesting. Apple Maps cancels the directions to DC.
Right.
Can you imagine? I mean, you go on Apple Maps and you're here in Florida and you say show what are the directions to.
Well, I just in their defense, and who knows what's true anymore, but I heard that the reason it wasn't canceled, but that it shut down, and because there were so many people requesting directions, that it was overcrowded with traffic, and so it just...
Well, no.
No.
No, I don't think so. Okay, maybe. It says Apple Maps is currently blocking, but like I say, it might be, what do they call it when you have a denial of service attack or something?
Yeah, or something. Or like you said, is it blocking because there's a bunch of red, and it says don't go here? Or is
the company, when they asked Apple about it,
right,
they said they blamed current road conditions.
Okay, that's what I was just talking about. Yes. So,
okay.
I don't know. Look, whatever. I mean, do we... So what? I mean, do we really think Apple is gonna... Look, this was just Look, here, about the coup, okay? This was just a protest like any other protest. This was just like Kenosha or Minneapolis. In fact, not even as bad as Chaz.
Oh, right.
Those kinds. I mean, no buildings were burned or anything like that.
There was a window broken.
There were windows broken. Okay, nobody was physically attacked. It wasn't like
That one girl was shot.
she was shot by the people inside. And yeah, I saw an interview with the dude apparently who was allegedly with her. And man, it was the dumbest interview.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody who heard that interview was dumber after they listened. It was so bad. The guy was like, all we did was attack.
Yeah, right.
It was
the capital of the United States.
I know. It's
Yeah,
like,
right.
well, duh. And they were shooting at us.
Can you believe it?
It's like, so now in that particular situation, there's lots of video. I mean, you can see video, and I got to play a little bit since we're
All right.
I talk about it here. We brought it up.
I didn't want to talk about it.
Well, you have to talk about it a little bit because there's this narrative out there like it was a coup attempt, all right?
Right.
I'm sorry, it was not a coup attempt, and you know that for several reasons. Number one, it's not like there was a flag inside that if they captured, they got the government or anything. I mean,
Capture the flag.
Right.
Well, I remember that from my camp days.
there was no plan like to succeed at a government takeover by anybody. I mean, you know what I mean? And not Trump, not the GOP, whatever, separatists or whatever you want to call them. I mean, nothing
Well,
like that.
the guy, what about they found out some more about the guy with the horns.
Right. They got that guy.
And then they also got. Do you realize there was somebody marching out of the Capitol with Pelosi's podium?
Right. Yeah.
Can you imagine? What are you gonna? You gonna put that on eBay?
He did.
What are you
he
doing?
did put it on eBay.
No.
Yes, apparently. And
I heard they arrested him on the way.
They
out.
did. Well, no, not on the way out. They bagged him now as a Florida guy.
Really?
Yeah.
That's yay, Florida.
Right. Yeah. Yay, Florida, we win.
That's typical Florida. I can see Dave Barry quoting that and saying, "And where's he from?"
Right. Now this is obviously the mostly peaceful protests here. You can see.
Whoops.
Yeah, I mean, it's just real short, but it just shows the thing. And then this is when they breach the police lines in this video. You can see, okay, there's a bunch of police, and here they come out and they push through over here. Okay, and then the police kind of let them through after there's a couple of guys. So they're swinging and they hit this guy in the leg with the baton or something, and then they let him through, basically. And the other guy's in there with his flag, and they're pushing. But let's be clear here: the police are not trying here. All right.
Okay.
Because if you really want to keep them out, you use bullets.
Okay. Well, they didn't have any, I don't think.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Look, that's what I'm saying. Okay, this is.
Look at them though. They're casually walking in.
Right. That's why it's.
Guy's got a cell phone out.
Yeah, and I mean it's a mob to be clear. It is definitely a mob, but it's not like they're dragging the policemen around, beating them up or anything.
Not yet.
Well, they're not. They don't do that, And then there's this one. This is the interesting one. I mean, you want to see. This is when they're actually walking into the Capitol, and you can see in this video that they walk right by a bunch of police. See, then here's the door opens up. It's not like it's splintered or anything like that, And
I guess maybe they thought they were supposed to be there.
well, I mean, look, okay, so it's a protest,
Yeah.
and so and here are the cops right here. That's the police right there, and that police officer says to him, "We don't agree with you, but go ahead." And so they let him in here, and they're walking in like wherever, and let's be clear. Look, this is the proper place for a protest.
Yeah.
That is to say, it's the Capitol. Right.
Well, previously, I know that very often when they have a protest, they'll sit down in front of some senator's office
Right.
or the House Representative's office, and they'll have a sit down. 30 people in front of his door.
Exactly.
Okay.
And to me, that's very appropriate. I mean, when you consider the alternatives, like for example, we had another instance this week where a whole bunch of protesters went to some senator or representative's house.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, to me, that's off limits.
Okay.
That to me, those people should be arrested for stalking. I mean, these people should probably be arrested.
Okay.
For trespassing because they broke through the lines and such, but not sedition.
Yeah.
Not insurrection. We're not going to hang these people out in front of
It was a coup.
Right, that's what I'm saying. No. Okay. You can say it was trespassing. You can say they broke in, but this is not anywhere near like going to their homes from my perspective, because that to me, I mean,
that's a real threat.
It's an immediate real threat. There's a mob right outside your door. I mean, you're one step away from people opening fire at that point. You know that there's not walls or anything in between you that's going to hold anybody back. In this situation, I mean, I'm a little embarrassed that the best they could do is put some furniture up against the door. I mean, in the Capitol, that's all you got? It's like a bench or something?
Yeah, well, of course, a lot of it, I guess, it was, according to some people at the Capitol part or whatever. Of course, I saw that the Capitol Police, the captain of the Capitol Police resigned.
Yes.
Because he should have been ready or whatever. But
what is this with the freaking resigning? Everybody's resigning to take responsibility.
Yeah.
And there are all these calls, AOC's out there calling people to resign. You need to take responsibility and resign. Like, that's not taking responsibility.
it sort of is.
No, that's giving up responsibility. I mean,
I know. I mean, if you take responsibility and you pay the price, and I admit my.
So I fix it. I don't resign.
Well,
I mean,
okay. All right.
Here's the guy. Here's the guy in front of the Capitol here, or This is the guy with the bull horn. You saw that guy, right?
No.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
No, this is the meme going around. This is the guy with, he's got the furry hat with the horns. Now
Right. They investigated that guy.
Yeah, they arrested him too.
Yeah,
So
but they investigated and found out he's apparently that's his life's work is going around protesting.
Yeah, he does that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I liked this one. You're burning down all the wrong buildings. Should have gone for the Internal Revenue Service or something.
Or Eccles Building.
Well,
That's where the Fed is.
there you go. So this is the piece of furniture here that they got, and a whole bunch of guns. And
Oh, they did have guns. Okay.
Yeah. So, and I guess this is where the woman got shot. I don't know. I've got the video of it, but I won't show it because they'll probably.
No, yeah, they'll demonetize us
Well, yeah.
for all the money we're getting.
Exactly. Let's see. All right. So you got some more on this?
No,
Oh, okay.
not so much on that. I don't think. Let me take a quick look here. Most of the stuff has been the what I call the blowback from. In other words, here's what we're going to do.
Right.
And of course, one of the first things was tomorrow morning. I think they're going to reintroduce impeachment for Trump.
Re-impeach him.
That's it, re-impeach him. I mean, he's got a week or
Right,
something,
10 days.
10 days or something.
Yeah.
I mean, can't you just wait a few minutes? But of course, this is what makes the news, I guess. We're not going to get anything done, so we'll impeach Trump.
Well, and this is sticking it in his eye, and also this is if they can. What their goal right now is to try and make it look as bad as possible.
Oh yeah. Oh
and
yeah.
so an impeachment, this adds another layer of look how bad it was. He was impeached twice, and oh my God, no president in history, and blah blah blah, and then white supremacy and something I don't know, but.
Well, now the Senate doesn't meet until the 10th, right? Those two new senators aren't sworn in until then, or somebody?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean, they'll have time to impeach him if they want to, and now they've realized that they can. And so now they have the votes, presumably, to do it.
Yeah,
but they're silly if they do, because
I think that even some Democrat people are going to say, look, if you think this country was divided before,
right,
you got 70,
well, that's the other thing. Together, forward.
No.
Except we're going to crucify your guy.
Yeah, right. I know. If you think that's going to do something to unite the country, again, you're out of your mind.
Well, but I mean, they're going after him hot and heavy, obviously. Now, this you got to remember. This is on the heels of Georgiagate, right?
Yeah.
This 3 days ago or something.
Yeah.
There was the phone call that he made.
Right.
The hideous, treasonous, seditious phone call where he asked the Georgia representative to find 11,000 votes or whatever. Now, look, if you want to hear about that, Dershowitz does a really good analysis.
Oh, is that right?
Now, and this is a guy everybody can trust. He's on the left. He's a Hillary supporter. So when he supports Trump on the phone call, you can tell. It all comes down to intent, as you probably are aware. You can't unintentionally, accidentally commit sedition. All right, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
That doesn't.
Part and parcel of sedition is I meant to do
I
it.
meant to do it. I was trying to take over, and that's clearly not what was happening in the phone call. So, but That's not going to stop everybody from. I mean, Michelle Obama is out there calling for Trump's permanent ban from social media.
Yes, I saw that.
Lady Gaga wants him disqualified from all future elections.
Right.
Like, where the fuck does that come from?
Well, good luck.
Well, that's I know.
I mean,
It's
you
just.
you can't do
We
that.
want him bathed in oils
That's
and
right.
scented with lavender.
Well, and feathers.
Right, darn it. I mean, what? It's just funny that they come up with this stuff. But I mean, Trump did handle the entire thing horribly, strategically speaking.
Yeah.
I thought. I mean, you don't call for people to come out to the you don't need people. That's not what he needed to come to the. What he needed was a bunch of lawyers and a bunch of tech experts to come in and testify. Apparently, the Georgia contest is still going on.
Really?
From
No.
a standpoint of, there's a legal case still that's open, but it just hasn't gone through or been appealed correctly to the right people. They blew it, obviously, and that's what you bring to the January 6th thing. You don't bring 10,000 people. There's nothing that's going to go right with 10,000 people.
No. That's the problem with any mob.
Right.
Literally, what you've got is the way I look at a mob is what you've done is you've taken about 1 million wooden matchsticks and you stuck them all up in so that all the reds are, and all you have to do is light one of them.
There you go.
And that's it.
Right.
That's what the mob mentality is.
Yeah. And so now, but can I still will protect or defend anybody who is blamed for lighting the match from way over here by breathing hard.
Yeah.
That's not how matches get lit either.
No.
So-
Well, I thought it was interesting. You when you realize it, prior to the election, Trump had 100, 200 rallies.
Yeah.
Nothing happened. Nothing. It was all very peaceful.
Right.
Kumbaya, the whole deal.
Right.
So
Well, he did convince at least some people that some shit was going to go down, that they were going to steal the election. That was his mistake, because he's reframing it like look, it's not stealing unless you can prove it. And if you can prove it, you don't say it. You just say, hey, look at this court case. Hey, look what we're doing in court here. What Trump should have done is, right after the election, he should have established himself his own website, Trump.com. And he said, look, I'm going to post all my tweets right here, and I'm going to appear every day and do a video segment. I'll have my own people.
that's what Reich does.
Yeah, exactly.
Robert Reich every day.
He should have had his own podcast.
Yeah.
Okay, here you go.
Yeah.
And every day I'm going to come on, fuck Twitter, fuck Facebook, fuck all that shit, whatever
He's
it is.
off them anyway.
Exactly.
Now we already talked. I'm going to talk about that.
And he could have generated all the attention and gotten everybody behind him and then presented his case every day and not had to worry about being banned on from tweets and stuff. But instead, he came out and he framed it all wrong. Too bad, but oh well.
Mrs. Jimmy's not want to hear that.
Shut up.
Yeah, shut up. Pretty much. That's right. Well, let me go into Sunday's January 20th.
Okay, go ahead.
Now, first of all, remember what I just said. I hope you all wrote it down. Gold was 1906 this was on Wednesday, a couple days ago, 6 days ago, and a Bitcoin was 35,570, which meant it was 18 1/3 Krugerrands. 18 1/3 Krugerrands. Okay. Now today, gold's at 1850. It dropped off a bit, up $50. Bitcoin went to 38,231. And now Bitcoin is worth 20 2/3 Krugerrands. So you could have gotten 2 more Krugerrands, at least 2 more Krugerrands if you just waited.
And it was up to 42.
Yeah, I know it was, but it was. But I think it's interesting. And I noticed also your Ethereum was up.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
way up.
I didn't realize this, but Ethereum was $174 a year ago. $12.85 today.
Yes.
$12.85 today.
800%.
800%, right. So it's the bubble is being blowed up. That's as far as I'm concerned. So
who knows where it'll settle? But I've been playing around with it.
I know you have.
I sold all my Bitcoin the other day, but I bought Ripple.
Okay.
And I made money.
And it was big money.
Tens of dollars.
Tens of dollars. That's right. Went into serious double digits. Okay, good. What I thought. Speaking of Bitcoin, though.
Mm-hmm.
Darknet drug dealers have been accused of hiding a Bitcoin stash that's now worth $16 million. What they did is they bought an old fishing boat and a squid permit to conceal their crime. I'm not sure what that's all about, but it's just interesting. A federal judge issued a warrant for the seizure of about 392 bitcoins that these darknet people have, valued at about 16 million. Now, interestingly enough, when they bought them, they were like $1 million or something. Whenever they bought them a couple of years ago, it wasn't that much. It was like $1.5 million or something instead of 16. So in the meantime, guess what? Now we're 16 million, and they said, "Whoa, wait a minute, we want that now." So the value of the Bitcoin is more than 10 times what it had been in January 2019 when it was found. And I don't understand this. When they found during a search of a home in Ventura, California, according to the complaint. In the forfeiture complaint, the Bitcoin permit, the squid permit, and the boat were listed as defendants.
Okay.
Well, what are they going to drag them into court?
That's a technical thing that you do when you're trying to seize something.
But how are they going to complain?
Well, what you do is they have a representative.
Okay, but
it's just stupid technical stuff. It's like saying, the state versus your home or something.
Yeah.
It's because they want the home.
Yeah, well, I just thought that was interesting. I know you've told me this before, but I still find it just stunning that the defendant are things. And of course, my question is, where exactly Bitcoins are out there in outer space somewhere, right? So I mean, how do you seize them?
Well, the same way you seize anything. For example,
somebody has to sign on and get them.
Well, maybe. You could have something like this. The old Bitcoin paper wallet, and it's the Bitcoins are in here. So if I give you this, it's got a QR code in it.
A QR code
that you can scan. And then retrieve them onto your phone or whatever.
Okay. All right. Well, it's interesting. This whole thing. I read a lot of the article and I didn't quite get it all. But it's darknet drug dealers and all this kind of stuff, and they seized them.
Get ready. That stuff's coming.
Yeah.
Coming a lot.
Well, speaking of money, let me move on along here a little bit. I love this. One of our representatives, our famous Texas representative, pay me what you owe me. Representative Sheila Jackson Lee reintroduces the reparations bill.
Right.
She's not satisfied, and it's pay me what you owe me. This Sheila. Now, you understand? She's been in Congress at $175,000 for I don't know how long, forever, long time. So she's in the House. So her HR 40 bill would allow to fund a formal commission to study and develop reparation proposals for the African American Act. Okay, this is great. While the bill has received support from House Democrats, many Republicans, including Mitch, have said that they're not real happy about it. Now I'm sitting there thinking, they're going to do a commission. It's been a millennium or however long it's been. It's been like this. The slavery was in the Jurassic period. It's been a while. And so what you have to do, what they're going to do, apparently, is you have to go back in the Ancestry.com or whatever it is and figure out what percentage of you, blah, 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 who it was, how are they related, it was the second cousin twice removed, yes, and they were married to maybe a Haitian, or maybe they were married to a Frenchman or an Indian. I don't know. But then they have to put this all in a big spreadsheet and figure out what percentage of the reparations are you entitled to. Then, of course, you have to figure out the total amount of the reparations, I guess.
Hey, nothing divisive about this.
No. Can you imagine? I am more entitled than you. I'm blacker than you. I may not look blacker, but I've got 2 more check marks over here in my ancestry.
Should be higher.
It should be, yes. You can imagine the people.
Well, and how about the people who pay too? You guys are related to somebody,
right?
Or you're not.
Or you're not.
You're
Actually,
not related.
I'm sorry. Your parents came to this country when?
Right.
Last year?
Right.
You became naturalized. Your parents became naturalized last year, they're going to pay?
That's it.
No.
Look, as soon as they get one smart person on the committee, it's going to devolve. Now they may come up with something anyway, because they may kick that person off the committee.
Not only that, this is the same thing with the mask wearing business. It's a shaming thing. You shame people for not agreeing with you. What are you, some kind of grandma killer?
Well, that's what I mean. There's nothing wrong with that. That's the way everything gets done,
Well,
but they can fuck off, I mean, the bottom line is, it wasn't us. They may have looked like us, but if you want to institutionalize racism, this is the way to do it.
Well, that's not all, but I mean, and of course, one of the things it would really do well is for me to shoe polish up my face and complain and see where that goes.
Well, what's going to happen is exactly that if people keep pushing it, because people will start to realize that actually has no effect.
Right.
I mean,
Well, it does. It does if you happen to be governor of Virginia or some of these other people that.
Nothing happened to him.
No, but
because he was a Democrat.
Well, they did. Yeah, right. Well, there's some people that did.
All the Democrats got a pass.
Yeah.
Jimmy Kimmel he still got his thing, and the president of Canada still got his gig.
Yeah, that's right.
And Joy Behar still got hers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But I thought this was the quote: "The impact of slavery and its vestiges continues to affect African Americans and indeed all Americans in communities throughout our nation," says Jackson Lee.
Sure. Well, she's got to say something.
I mean, continue. When are you going to let it go, for God's sake? And here she is in the Congress of the United States.
Why would you let it go?
Because it's ancient history.
But we can pump some money out of this sucker.
Well, that's right.
I mean, look,
the legislation is intended to examine the institution of slavery in the colonies and the United States from 1619.
Right.
This is part of the 1619 Act.
Sure.
Bring that back up again. I thought that had been trashed. To the President, further recommend appropriate remedies. Since the initial introduction of the legislation, its proponents have made substantial progress in elevating the discussion of reparations and reparatory justice. Okay, reparatory justice now.
There you go.
At the national level and joining the mainstream international debate on the issues. Now, so internationally now it's going. How I don't know what's the word I'm looking for here. I can't remember. How stupid do you can't be that stupid.
Well, I mean, look, I think what she's feeling, what she's seeing is the class separation.
Yeah, you want it, and thank you so much for doing some more on it.
Well, I mean, but she doesn't realize, from her perspective, it's a race issue.
Yeah.
Because it's outcome determinative. It's outcome determined. But it's not a race issue in terms of the institutions that we have in the United States. But there is a class issue. There is a giant class, as we've talked about many times. There are impediments to work. And that keeps poor people from entering the rich side more today than it has ever before. And so, now I don't know. I mean, for 100 years it was race stuff, even after the war.
Oh yeah, no question. Yeah,
So,
well, the Jim Crow and all that.
Right,
crap.
exactly.
Oh, yeah. Well, it was. I forget what it was, but there was in Virginia, for instance, there was a law passed. A definite racial law passed in the early 1900s.
There was a bunch of the Jim Crow laws, they were called, So, I mean, that happened, but they were unpassed later.
Yeah.
And the concept is what everybody needs to get to at some point is equality under the law. That is what we need to get to. And when we're there, then everything else will work itself out. All the little ripples in society and in the individual interactions that are racist one way or the other, they'll all be worked out as long as everybody can point to the law and say, look, we're all Americans under the law. But right now there's a big movement, unfortunately, to undo the harm, as Sheila Jackson is trying to do. And what she doesn't realize she's doing is she's actually instituting racism.
Well, they did this starting in the 60s with Johnson's Great Society. I mean, the fact is that we're now the war against poverty, and now we have more poverty. I mean,
well, I mean, like I said, yeah, that's exactly
trillions
right.
spent.
She's got good intentions, bless her heart, but I mean, but no is the answer. I mean, it's dumb, it's horrible, it's really stupid to separate people out by their race. It's stupid to try to delineate everybody, as you said initially, by what percentage you are descendant from what kind of slaves minus what descendant you are from what kind of slave masters, divided by what good you've done in the past. I mean, you know, there's what kind of algorithm is somebody going to come up with? And everybody should recognize that no amount of science will solve that problem. And that the only way to do it is for everybody to just suck it up and go forward with equality. And you know, but we'll see how it goes. You know, I mean, the one thing about the Democrats there's some good things about the Democrats taking over, from my perspective.
Okay.
But there are some bad things too. But the bad things are going to be mitigated by just the incompetence of government generally.
Okay.
They're not going to get shit done. You got to remember, even when Barack Obama had the presidency and both houses, he got one thing done.
Right.
One thing. And the reason is because they're all going to hold out, because they all know that the president needs them. So they're all going to hold out for their special projects, for their special interests, and they're going to hold out till the end. And the end is the next election cycle. So
It's already started.
that's what I'm saying. But I mean, it all cycles around at the next election. So you got to give in before the next election, because your power evaporates potentially. You might be elected, you know, out of office, or the balance of power may shift in such a way that undermines your deal. So you got to make a deal, and then you hold on to it for 2 years. You extract your price, and then you get on board. So theoretically, the Democrats should pass one piece of legislation, but I think they're going to pass at least a couple. I think we're going to get their $2,000.
Well, that's what. Now, what's his name? Schumer, who now I believe is going to be majority leader in the Senate. Isn't he? 50-50 with one vote.
Right.
And of course, from the new vice president, you got to be kidding me. And of course, that's going to talk about a shuffle up. That's when they have musical offices.
Yeah.
Everybody, you know, they get the dibs on this, and your hierarchy now is going to be established. But it'll be interesting to see his, you know, they interview him every day.
Right.
And
well, he gets set the agenda.
The agenda, exactly right.
So,
and he's claimed first on the agenda is the 2000.
Well, so they've claimed that several times, and the thing is, that's an easy one. Should be a no-brainer. The Republicans haven't stood in the way of any spending except for that.
Right.
You know, in
right.
years. So it seems like an easy one. It doesn't cost that much money, relatively speaking. And, you know, my libertarian friends are all, oh my God, it's, you know, just a distortion, and they're going to tax you for it later and blah, blah. Yeah, but you know what? It's immediate repatriation of some money.
Yeah. Okay.
So from my perspective, it's libertarian-ish, because it's such a direct drain, or you know, it's such a direct flow. So even though it's fiat currency, and even though they're going to tax it or print it or whatever else they're going to do,
well, it's going to, you know, your grandchildren are going to have to pay it one way or the other.
That's it. That's it.
All debts ultimately get paid.
But if they were to cut everybody a $10,000 or a $50,000 check, I still think that would that would still be okay. There would pass a limit, at which point it would be totally destructive. But that's one good thing that could happen out of this whole Democrat takeover.
And you know, Bernie's going to be in there for his UBI probably.
Oh yeah, well that's
the next one.
You know, if the Great Reset has any validity, then that's what people will be screaming is, hey, look, everybody addicted to this UBI thing, we'll give them $2,000 every month, and then you know, try to take that bowl away after 6 months, you know. Right. And so
you scratched on that.
I like it. I mean, you know, from the perspective of, look, we're in monetary la land, obviously. So the monetary collapse, I don't think, you know, nothing that we do is going to make it any worse. It could make it. I mean, at this point, it's a question of how fast the bounce is going to come, and if they spend the money even faster, then it comes faster, and then the bounce.
You know, say when you get to Zimbabwe, I mean, then you know, then it's all over.
And you want that to happen faster rather than have a Venezuela, you know, strewn out over 10 years or some kind of a thing.
Well, it's a good point. And the other thing is, of course, even in Zimbabwe and Venezuela and some other places where they've debauched the currency completely, dollars were still available.
Right.
You know, but what happens
that's why
when the dollar goes,
such a big bounce.
That's going to be a big deal, because you can imagine.
Right. Now we got other currencies.
There are 50 countries that have as their reserves in the bank dollars.
Oh, it will be a shuffle of monumental proportions, but I mean that's a possibility. So, I mean, we'll see about the monetary. That's a potential negative thing. And there are some really potential negative things about the Democrats taking over. But let me finish my short list of good things.
Okay.
The second thing is, of course, the MORE Act, which
dope.
Exactly. If they pass that, people don't realize how good that'll be for law enforcement. It'll really reduce the friction between cops and citizens in a huge way. It'll smooth things out. I mean, it's a giant leap back towards cooperation between citizens and police.
No more SWAT teams breaking down your door because they saw a weed in your garden.
Exactly. At least it cuts down a half or more of those incidents and all the little incidents that it leads to. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I defended people where they said, the dog said I could search your freaking car.
Right.
You know, it's like, yeah, damn, and so a lot of that goes away, and all those puppies get to go home out to pasture or whatever it is, and nobody has to worry about it, and it's just huge. And that doesn't even count all the mental health stuff and all the rest of the stuff. But just the concept of freedom that gets ushered back into people's lives and sort of more prevalent.
So how long do you think it'll be before they take that up? Pretty quick?
Yeah, I'm thinking that could be a real short list item as well.
Well, when you realize that the new president, any time that there's a new president, they got like 6 months to get stuff done.
Right. 100 days, we know shit happens in the first 100 days. So I'm really, fingers crossed, that that's going through the first 100 days. We're going to need it, economically speaking. All the states could use a brand new cash crop and an undermining...
Of course, they'll blow it.
Well, yeah, of course
like
they
will. Did in California and Colorado, they took a little too much.
They totally did.
And then the illegal stuff starts coming in.
It does, but they're learning, and they're learning it faster, and the curve will be steeper this time for the other new states.
Right.
So, I mean, it's really, and of course, after the COVID situation, we all need an economic stimulus. It's good to have, and yeah, people need to, do whatever. So anyway, there's that. Okay, the third thing, though, this is really the biggest thing. A lot of people disagree with me on that. And this is one of the reasons that I'm partially a lefty in some ways, and that is that I firmly believe in immigration, in a very robust immigration policy. I think that's one of our biggest strengths. It always has been for the United States. I personally want a gigantic flow, a spigot, a river of people coming in from everywhere. And I do want a wall still, because I think you need to be able to screen out people who are known terrorists, the known bad guys, known super criminals.
Well, also we did it in the past. It was the known sickies too.
And known sicky people. You have to be able to discriminate, and you can't have teams of terrorists walking through your border. But you can have everybody else, and all the default people, and people who are unknown, and people who are kids, and all kinds of minor crimes, and all that kind of stuff. They can flow in, and the reason is obviously because people add resources. I know people don't think that. But they do, generally speaking, in a natural environment. People add resources, and we know that because there's more people today than ever before, and more resources today than ever before. As long as people are allowed to trade, their technology increases, their skills increase, their techniques increase, and their production increases, and everybody is better off the more people that there are. And what we want is more people involved in freedom in the United States, producing stuff freely and being taxed if necessary or whatever it is. But we want them in here, and obviously the one problem is that we have the giant welfare state.
Right.
When people flow in, and all the Republicans, I know all the Democrats are afraid the Republicans object to immigration because of racism, but it's not racism, okay? If you talk to a Republican, what they'll tell you is it's the money. It's the fact that you're giving them thousands and thousands of dollars just for showing up and or having a baby. You give them some more money. That obviously is an unsustainable thing. It takes more out of the system than it allows people to put in. It also discourages their productivity.
Right.
It creates a welfare class. It's un-American. That's we have the whole concept of American is you get here, you float here on a crate, whatever it is, you're good. Nobody's going to give you shit except freedom and security to produce whatever it is you can produce. So from my perspective, they should be giving away property out in Nevada. Nevada's like 97% federal lands. You can have your piece of desert. I would put up a big cell tower and a pipe with some freaking running water out there coming off of the Sierra or the Rocky Mountains,
Colorado River,
and that's it, and that's all you get. And here's your plot. Give everybody a quarter of an acre or something.
You have to give a little more than that, but it reminds me of the Oklahoma land rush, of course, that
that's
they had.
It, man.
They had parts, but it was, of course, there was some corruption on that too. That was the Homestead Act,
Right.
And maybe you could have another Homestead Act.
That's what I would do, and there would be a giant amnesty. And this is what I'm getting at. I think it's important if the Democrats do an amnesty, it'll signal to the rest of the world, hey, the United States does an amnesty every few decades. I mean, Ronald Reagan did the last one. We could do another one. 20 million, somewhere between 10 and 20 million people out there who would become Americans. Hallelujah. Welcome on. You've been here anyway, so come on. And also, the new caravans would line up, and we need them to compete with the coming surge in the Chinese coming off of their farms. They're dragging their peasants out from the rice fields and into the cities, and that productivity, just their consumption, is driving their economy in a huge way, and we need that kind of a thing as well. We need another influx.
A Homestead Act would actually do a lot, because one of the features of the Homestead Act, remember, this is like in 1870 or 60 or something like that, and I think that's when it was, but it was, the deal was, there was a lot of corruption involved, but they had parceled off, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 acres in Oklahoma for this, and then they lined up all the wagons, and
6 acres and a mule, or whatever.
Right, but it was 6 acres or whatever it was.
Right.
Might have been 20 acres, I don't know, but whatever it was, you had 6 or 10 years to make the land productive, and then it was yours.
Right.
If you didn't, it wasn't yours.
There you go.
You actually had to earn something on the land. Of course, and that's what people wanted to do, and they did it. They went out there and they built the.
That's what I would do with the freaking with the desert Southwest, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's deserted.
Because that's all government land, which is useless.
It's useless. It's not on the tax rolls, and it's a desert. But I promise you, you put 1 million people in there, and you let them, and you turn them loose. You make them free, and they will produce something out of it, like Israel does in freaking the desert over there. It would pop up like nobody business, and that's the only way we're going to be able to keep up with China as they grow in this century. And really, it's the only way. And so I think it's super, super important, and I hope that that's one of their first 100 days projects. So
okay, good. We're
that's
going to wait on that. Let me move on.
Yeah.
I did see something else, that Amazon, Google, and Apple suspend Parler from their app thing.
Yeah, from the app. You can still go online.
You can still go on, right, if you have it, but you can't, apparently, I don't know what happens if you have the app already. Maybe, I don't know how they take it off your phone.
No. Well, maybe it's unsupported or something.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, the Parler CEO says they're doing a complete rewrite of the thing, and it'll be back on. It's a format that's similar to Twitter.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, and now they were talking about Parler being a conservative, right-wing
Well, it was
alternative.
when everybody got kicked off of Twitter. They all went over to Parler.
Yeah, right, exactly. So
but
anyway,
it wasn't as much fun. I mean, it's not as much fun unless you get to needle the other side.
That's true, a lot of that. And of course, you could, in Parler, you could go on there and needle the other side. All you had to wait.
If you're on the left, you could.
Yeah, that's right. So anyway, it says Parler will be unavailable on the internet the guy that the Mets, the CEO of Parler, said there's a possibility that Parler will be unavailable on the internet for up to 2 weeks as we rebuild.
2 weeks, just to flatten the curve.
Yeah, flatten the curve, right. And it's interesting, General Flynn, Sidney Powell, and others suspended from Twitter as the technocrat cancel crusade continues, reads the headline. Cancel culture is back. Mm-hmm. And I thought this was interesting. Reddit also has banned another pro-Trump forum. This is the /r Donald Trump. They got that off the thing.
Yeah.
From the public square. And yet
Shopify, I think, canceled his...
Shopify, yes. Bunches of them. So I thought that was interesting. Then, of course, what can also happen on this, there's a Menlo Park candy store was boycotted after somebody spotted the owner of the store at the Trump rally. And so Sugar Shack is the name of the. Apparently, it's a really big, not big, but a very typical Menlo Park place that is a gathering place for a lot of people. Very popular. Sugar Shack, whatever it is, a pink and white striped candy shop in downtown Menlo Park, was closed Friday after Susie Tinsley came under attack on social media when a photo of her attending the rally that preceded. So it was interesting. There was a photo of her. Now, she went over there, as she said, I didn't go to the riot. I didn't go down to the Capitol. I was there at the Trump thing, and then I came home. Because Menlo Park's in New Jersey, right?
Oh.
It is. That's where Edison was, right?
Yeah, it was where Edison was.
I think it's Menlo Park in New
Okay.
Jersey. So she drove.
Okay.
You know. Anyway, what I thought was interesting about this, they spotted her and then put it on Twitter, and then the people in Menlo Park decided to boycott her. But whatever. What happened was this guy named Henry Shane, 18, a senior at Galilea Jewish High School in Palo Alto, who says he's a political activist. But now this Menlo Park, it is in New Jersey, right?
Yeah, I'm just gonna look that up. It's funny. Keep going.
Okay. It says who says he's a political activist, said he didn't launch the call for a boycott, but has been active in promoting it.
See, it's wait. There's one.
There is one in California.
Yeah.
Okay,
exactly.
that's the one. I'm sorry. Yes. Yes.
See,
Yes.
there is one in New Jersey too. That's what's confusing.
That's okay. California, right? Okay, I'm sorry. It is California because he says this kid, 18, said he has been patronizing the candy store since he was young. I love this. He's 18,
Right.
and he's been patronizing the candy, and now he wants to cancel her.
I've been spending all my mom's money there.
Oh, my mom, yeah, right. I come out of the basement. Actually, at 18, I don't even live in the basement. I got my own room.
Right. Still in your own room.
And Paul that Tinsley would participate, that Tinsley, who's the girl that runs the store there, in an anti-democratic activity. And I'm thinking, there isn't much more democratic than a protest or something.
Right.
I mean, I'm not talking about the rioting or anything like that.
Yeah.
But you go and you stand there with a bunch of people. Somebody gives a speech, you go hooray, and then you go home. Okay, how's that anti-democratic?
Again, you are just spreading the narrative.
I know, it is just funny. While he welcomes differences in political opinion, he thinks attending
Except
Trump.
for the bad ones.
Yes, he says that is going a bridge too far.
Oh yeah, hell no. Damn
I
it.
just sit there. He's 18,
Right.
and when I was young,
That's
and
right.
blah blah blah. And I
That's
thought,
right.
God,
Was he able to vote this election, or
I
did he
don't.
turn 18
Good question.
afterwards?
Good question. Yeah, good question. I think this is. I mean, I look at something like this, and it's just
He's
hysterical.
18, and this is the narrative. You know, every time I see something on Twitter where it's some crazy tweet, my first thought is, it's a freaking 13-year-old.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. You
Yeah.
know they're on there.
Yeah.
So, of course that's what it is. And if it's a 30-year-old acting like a 13-year-old, I'm still going to treat him like a 13.
Exactly. Well, Miss Jimmy says that about me. So, Okay, the next thing I've got, a couple of things here real quick. The Israelis have gone on the warpath because they're being locked down as bad as California, apparently, because they've had a COVID spike, and they've decided to, the thousands of Israelis Saturday renewed weekly demonstrations against Netanyahu, calling for the leader to resign over corruption charges, blah, blah, blah. Go, Bibi, let my people go, referring to the COVID, the fact of the lockdown.
Yeah.
The protest in a Jerusalem square near his house, near the official residence, is in the midst of its third national lockdown. Now, why didn't the first two work, and how did this come back, and blah,
See,
blah?
well, look, and in their defense, the first two did work. Otherwise, it would have been like the super plague in between.
Well, they apparently is ahead of the rest of the world in the inoculations. They're doing, fast.
Yeah.
Anyway, they recently tightened to shutter schools, and the country presses forward in a world-leading vaccination drive. Now, what's interesting is, Netanyahu's been charged with corruption and everything like that, and he's been lined up for trial.
Again?
Yeah. Netanyahu's trial was set to resume this week, but was postponed indefinitely because of the tighter restrictions. So, yeah. But it reminds me of when Clinton, when Clinton was, when he was under all kinds of stuff. That's when the missiles went over into Kosovo.
Yeah.
Because when they were pissing off about Monica Lewinsky, he said, I'll show you something that shoots something. So missiles will go into.
Well, this reminds me of this week. I saw that they've let Cohen out of jail.
Yeah.
And because of COVID.
Right.
And so now he's living and he has a podcast.
Yeah, right, I know.
And so he just podcasts about Trump all day long.
God, he does too. Well, speaking of that, I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about that in just a second.
Go ahead.
And matter of fact, maybe I'll get to that. Troy Noah scoops up a Bel Air mega mansion for $27.5 million.
Trevor Noah, yeah.
Now he's a late night guy.
Yeah.
He's from South Africa.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's an American citizen or anything. Doesn't really matter. But he's made all his money trashing Trump. That's what he's done. He's one of those late night
he's a
people.
stand-up. He's got like a stand-up special and stuff.
I know, but I'm just saying that's where he made his $27 million. And it was interesting. The comedian and author offloaded his previous Bel Air mansion in September, a couple months ago, for $21.5 million.
He's a smart
2
guy.
years after he bought it for $20 million. So,
He's a smart guy. I think he speaks like 4 languages.
Oh yeah, I don't doubt.
Like,
I mean, I'm sure, but I just thought my comment on this. All his money was. I know late night you have to have the eyeballs and you have to have the advertisers, but his main thing is all of them have been trashing Trump.
So what?
Okay. I just thought I'd mention it.
I mean, I just wish you were funnier. I mean,
Right, that's the thing. They've lost their humor totally.
yeah, when you know who the butt of the joke is going to be
Every time.
Yeah, and I mean, and he's done better than the other guys. The main guys are just. They're not even. It's like they're not even trying to be funny anymore.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like a comedic presentation of your propaganda news.
What I'm curious to know is what are they going to do on the 21st of?
I don't know. That's going to be very interesting to see what they do. I mean, will they go back to joking? I hope.
Yeah, they have to fire all the writers and get a new bunch in there.
Well, I mean, no. You just tell everybody, all right, we're going back to joking. And what we'll do is we'll joke to try to minimize the incompetence of the new administration or something.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm curious to see what they're going to do too.
Well, we only got 10 days
Won't
to find
be
out.
long.
Yeah, 10 days. Now, the next thing I've got here before we go to the end, I thought this would be interesting for the world's largest insect farm to be built in Illinois. Amid signs of soaring food inflation. The food industry is about to take a giant leap towards sustainability.
I don't think so.
A Chicago-based food processing company, Archel Daniels Midland,
Right.
okay, that's a huge place,
Yeah.
has decided to have Evino Feed, a French firm that makes insect protein. Now, what they do is they've got this fly, which is
Protein shake for you?
yeah. No, wait. It doesn't. It's not quite that good, but they're gonna grow. They're gonna grow and harvest billions and billions of insects called the black soldier fly.
All right.
Now it turns out we're not going to have fly sandwiches. I guess
Right.
it's the larvae
Right.
that have all the protein.
Oh, grub sandwich for
Grub sandwich. Well, it's interesting. It's for animal feed.
Oh man.
Yeah. So we can't have it.
Look,
I mean, what?
Look, you just leave off that part of the story.
I was going to. I had to put it in there just as a disclaimer. Right? No. When I'm reading,
And it's going to your children's
that's the
lunches.
children's lunches. You open up the lunchbox.
That's
and it looks like from Star Trek.
That's it. It's just all moving.
When they have it's moving. Or what is it? Klingon. Glok, glok.
That's it.
You know?
Just eat it raw. There you
Oh,
go.
it's perfect. I tell you, this is great. Well, they've always, when you realize that
Hey, it's science. All right. This is
science. Well, when you realize
It's a
that termite larvae apparently are a big protein in Africa.
Listen, I have no doubt that within 10 years, this particular show will become a historical.
This, as I said before, instead of Soylent Green and him being dragged off and say, it's humans, they'll be saying, it's fly larvae.
Yeah, exactly.
Your steak and everything.
Well, yeah, exactly. This is first gen.
So, yeah, I thought that was
First
great.
gen Soylent Green.
So I thought, yeah, exactly. Soylent, I don't know what color they are, but
Soylent Black.
Okay, the last thing I've got is self-driving cars. We've talked about this many times.
Okay.
Apparently, the Chinese have announced a brandy new one, all battery operated. Everything is, and it says NIO Day. That's the symbol on the New York Stock Exchange for this Chinese car maker. Apparently, they had a big rush in, blockbuster. And here's what they revealed: they offered investors in the Chinese automaker rich detail about a new car, autonomous driving, pricing, charging models, and EV batteries. The stock, of course, is pricey because they have no earnings, so the PE is infinity or whatever you want to call it. Anyway, the point is it has it's got a lot of impressive features: soft closing doors, air filtration, which I thought was good, and acoustic glass, mainly aesthetic. But it's supposed to have 625 miles of range and 625 horsepower. $84,000.
84 fucking thousand. You gotta be kidding me, man.
No, I'm not kidding
But
at all.
hey, that's well, all right.
I just thought it was interesting. There are people that'll pay it. You know, this is not Lamborghini money. It's
No.
It's Porsche money.
It's true. And look, and actually, I mean, the last time you go to the car dealership, I mean, a Mustang is $45,000.
Right.
You know, so
Is that the electric Mustang?
no, just a regular old
Okay.
off the. I mean, that's the GT model or whatever, but still, that's a Mustang. It's a Ford Mustang. You know, it's a $1,500 car.
Yeah, right. Well, you say that. I know that when it was first announced, actually it was over 2,000, I think.
Okay.
You know, but of course that. I mean, I remember when those cars were available. I bought my Corvair for, I think, about 2,000 in 1961.
Well, look, all it's going to have to happen as soon as those cars get to be able to drive appreciably better than the humans.
Right, well, that's what I'm saying. That's what caught me about this particular one, is because they're talking about, if it's not now, it's right down the road.
Right, exactly.
And this is in China,
right,
with billions of people.
We've been saying that. It's 2021 now. I think we projected 2022 for the self-driving cars.
Okay.
For the real autonomous ones. I mean, as soon as it gets better than the humans, and the actuaries at the insurance companies can calculate a savings if you get a self-driving car versus if you don't, then it's going to be on. Now, of course, there's going to be some battle there, of course, because the more autonomous and safe the cars are, the more redundant insurance companies are.
Right. Well, that's not all. The other thing that is going to be, because we've talked about this as far as law enforcement is concerned.
Right. It's going to cut down enormously. I mean, the most dangerous place you can be is in your car out there. I mean, that is absolutely the most dangerous place you can be in terms of your interaction with law enforcement.
I drove up to Jacksonville yesterday from here, and I was Sunday. Okay, boy, I'll tell you, I was doing the speed limit. Actually, I was doing 10 miles an hour over the speed limit, and I was being passed like by people doing 100. On the freeway, literally on 100. I'm watching in my rear view mirrors. These people are coming up, for God's sake. And I'm thinking, what's it going to be like on Monday during rush hour?
Such a silent generation driver.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Let's see what else we got here.
Okay. Well, I was going to mention.
Okay. What else you got?
No. That I was going to mention one more thing about that.
Oh.
And what was it? Just don't tell me now. 84,000 and oh yeah. We might have said 2022, but I think it's going to be a little longer than that now. Because there's two other things that have to happen that I think are really important. And one of the things that's going to happen is every time there's an accident, like we had a couple of them, where there was one person was killed someplace, I don't know what, because it didn't know when the lady was crossing the street and it was making a turn and she was.
Yeah.
Well, that's the kind of stuff that's going to say, okay, we can't use them yet.
Well, that's where we've been, though.
I know, but what I'm saying is when you realize there's anywhere from 30 to 50,000 deaths not to mention the injuries, not to mention the damages and everything.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm telling you, as soon as the car manufacturer, I mean, and we're one generation of algorithm away.
Okay.
I think. Now, I mean, maybe it's more complicated than that because of the way that the shapes change infinity different ways as you move around the visual field. But the fact is, now there's so many different cross-referential sensors on the car. I mean, you've got LiDAR, radar, visual scope. I mean, it's...
Well, do they communicate with other cars yet?
Not exactly yet.
That's
See,
right.
That's another thing. And that's the advantage that Tesla is apparently, they talk about this Tesla bubble right now and everything. One of the big things that's driving it is the concept that Tesla may get into the insurance business themselves. Because they have individual information about individual drivers that they're putting into their algorithm, not just like, oh, maybe you're, between the ages of 25 and 50, but you're 26 and a half. and you're this guy, and your girlfriend lives 7.2 miles away, and your job is 22.6 miles, along this freeway, which has this accident potential, and all those calculations go into whether or not your car is going to wreck. But that's going to be one thing. But it's just as soon as they can cut those numbers in half, or even in some substantial way, as soon as the mathematician can say we're going to save 10 people this year, then
right. Well,
it's going to be gone.
You're right. Of course, I thought it was interesting because you're hearing more and more stories about somebody falling asleep at the wheel down the highway. And
well, sleep is one of the biggest killers, always has been, in terms of, I can tell you, defended so many more people who fell asleep at the wheel. They talk about drunk driving, and what happens is you fall asleep.
Yeah.
It's you can call it the booze, but it's the sleep also, and also the speed and stuff like that. And all that stuff will be eliminated with the self-driving.
Well, that'll be interesting. That'll be fascinating.
It'll be great.
Yeah.
It'll be fantastic. Another great step. All right. Real quick, another couple of bad possibilities, which I hope we don't see from the Democratic takeover, and that is gun control. To me, that's the scariest thing.
Good luck. I don't.
That's what I'm hoping that one goes down to the infighting.
Yeah, because really, we're talking about the Second Amendment.
And the other one is court packing, and that's another one.
Oh yeah, well yeah.
But I think that's subject to the divide. So
yeah.
Let me.
How about the new states? They're going to try and get Puerto Rico and Washington as states.
They may get D.C. They may do it. But I don't know. That may be enough. There may be enough lawyers up there to hold it off. I don't know. It's hard to say. But yeah, they may get the states. But the other thing I'm worried about. This is what I'm really worried about is stuff like this. Did you see what Connecticut did this week?
No, what was that?
With the paid family leave thing?
No.
Connecticut passed a paid family leave act, so that every employee in Connecticut, even if you're the singular employee at a business, gets 12 weeks paid leave per year.
So you're the loan secretary at an attorney's office, and he's the loan attorney in this.
That's right.
And she gets 12 weeks.
Right. And it doesn't even have to be for her care. It can be for the care of not even a family member, but a family friend.
And how long are people going to stay in Connecticut as a business?
Well, it kicks in starting in 1 year.
So you got a year to move out.
Right. So what they're going to do is they're going to tax everybody this year on it, coming off the top, off your pay.
Okay.
And then next year, everybody gets fired. Yeah. So that's the kind of crazy shit that I would expect them to do. Like, oh, what's wrong with 3 weeks paid leave for every single employee everywhere? It's like, okay. That's the kind of weird distortion shit that could really mess with us.
Yeah, because it reminds me of the other weird distortion we talked about before was the state of California trying to if you move out and sever your ties with. They still come after you for taxes.
Right, and California did that shit where you had to have one member of one woman, one black, one trans, one,
Indian.
Right. Everybody on your board, like, what the hell? So, all right, the press has gone out of control. We talked about that a little bit. Oh, you saw the gender rewrites in the House?
Yes. We talked about that, I thought. No?
Did we?
I don't know. You mean the fact is you're not supposed to use gender specific.
Not even father, sister.
Well, you saw where the House, one of the guys doing the prayer for the daily.
Yeah,
prayer,
that was the other thing.
That was man and woman.
Right.
Have you what?
Well, they left out the other 57 genders. I thought that was pretty.
I know we're a little upset about that.
It's craziness. I can't believe.
Yeah, no. So now you can't use. You can't use uncle even. Now it did say you're still allowed if you utter it on the floor.
Right.
If you go up there and if you utter it on now, you'll probably be shamed. Like as we saw.
Oh my God, they use gendered coded language.
Right. Well, you saw when this was about a year ago when they had the
conference.
The conference, the Democratic Socialist Conference.
Don't clap. Everybody use your spirit fingers.
Well, not only that is when somebody said "you guys," some girl got up there and said "you guys," and immediately, you can't say "God." That's gender.
Right. That's an attack. Yeah. Okay. real quick, these no charges in the Kenosha Blake case.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Now, what was it? Apparently,
Well, we called that a long time ago, but no riots either, which is interesting.
That's
At least
what
not yet.
yeah, no riots. I just thought that was the guy that was shot 7 times in the
Yeah.
back, and
When he went for the knife in the car.
went for the knife in the car. Yeah, I feared for my life.
Pretty easy. 10 years ago, I just noticed this real quick. The Freedom Index, the Economic Freedom Index, number 1, Hong Kong.
Mm-hmm. Ooh.
Yeah, number 5, Australia.
Yeah. And that was 10 years ago.
Right.
What's it today?
I don't know, but it isn't that.
No.
All right, that's all we got.
Okay.
I'll let you go on that. Ooh, I had some images. Oh, I forgot the images. My slideshow. Did you see this one?
Yeah, none of this matters if there's a virus. That's funny.
All right. Thanks a lot for joining us. We appreciate it. We'll be back soon. The 13th? Yeah. And,
What's that?
that's a Stacey Abrams votive candle.
Okay. All right, Stacey Abrams. Yeah.
That's right. There's Cosmopolitan this week.
No.
Healthy. Oh yeah, that's a real image.
No.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
And it says, "This is healthy." Now here's some real U.S.-backed military coups. If you want to know what a coup looks like.
Yeah, right. Yeah. No. And the next thing you know, it's going to happen here. No.
Yeah. All right. There's your new image for the.
Better than the straw, huh?
That's right.
Oh, that's a face mask.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Okay.
Meanwhile, here's some things Stossel pointed out. I might have shown you.
Where's that life expectancy where?
At the globe, worldwide.
Oh, from 1770, right.
Yeah. It's just, there's your war deaths. Just a little perspective. All right. Thanks a lot, Dr. McLeod, for these tracks. We appreciate it. All right. Thanks, y'all. Send us some Bitcoin.
Oh yeah, we a big. If you send us 1 Bitcoin, I'll tell you that'd be great. Cause I'm gonna go over to the coin shop and I'll only sell half of it.
That's it. All right. See you soon.
That'd be 10.